Welcome back to Wingnuts, the home of micro maintenance, and this is a continuation of the inspection of the two QUIK aircraft that were damaged in the storms that we showed on episode 10. So if you haven't seen that episode yet, now's the time to go and watch it. Are we all caught up now? Okay, so on this particular episode we take a closer look at the QUIK Explorer in more detail. And welcome back to the hangar. So today is our final day on the inspection of these trikes. We've been working as a team to get these done as quickly as possible. So Brendan's been working on the wings, I've been working on the fuselages, and Shelley's been working on the engines, all to put a detailed report together as quickly as possible. Anyway, I have the Explorer left to do, so I thought I'd go through that with you today and just give you some advice should your aircraft have a prang, or what to expect should you have an aircraft that's being inspected for an insurance repair or any repair really. The quite significant different damage between the two, so let me just show you. So the QUIK, this is the standard QUIK. This was the one that blew over. It went onto its side, and so it was quite obvious where the damage was. And so we got lots of, well, varying different impacts. So we got the initial roll, and now we got things like where it sat on the concrete and rubbing away. I mean, things like this are obvious. You know, you're led into where the damage is. Same with the pylon. The pylon's got some significant damage, maybe not necessarily from the initial impact, but certainly from being on its side for 24 hours. This keel's got a twist in it and also got some damage there. So two different types of damage from this. When it comes to the landing gear, the weight of the trike was resting on this wheel, and so there's axles we've put through and check that the axle is okay. We're going to go ahead and change some obvious load-bearing bolts as part of the repair, because that's what you would do. Leading in, again, there's varying bits of superficial damage. It's very easy to be led into what was wrong with this trike, and so you are naturally led into where you need to go. I'm peeping away. Oh, it's time to wake up, Steve. There we go. So yes, the standard QUIK, this one was quite easy to follow, and obviously you bring yourself in on checking varying parts. We're happy with this. A little bit of engine damage. The prop's been secondary hit by debris. So yeah, this was the story with this one. There was the initial rollover, and then damage by flying debris and being on its side for a period of time until it was recovered. So even things like the trim bungee, you know, unfortunately was a victim of it being blown over, you know, and it is what it is. The stuff like that happens. When we come to the Explorer, this is a different story, because this was one that was still standing, so it didn't blow over, but it was fully rigged with a nose down, tied back. So it gave it a negative attitude, but certainly from studying the video, we can see how other parts of damage were caused. And that's the story with this one, is more not with the initial incident. I mean, this is stood in 98 mile-an-hour winds, gusting, and that in itself would cause damage or leads us in to check in. I mean, there's certain things like the screen here where it's been damaged. Again, that's impact. And again, looking at the engine covers, something, and it looks like another aircraft has come down and struck the engine cowling here, as I'm sure you've seen on another video. So this leads us in quite naturally into investigating certain areas. What I need to do now, because we have already, taken the pylon cover off and checked certain things as much as we can. With this, it's like more of an investigation. So you need to leave on, you see here, some damage where the wing was tied down, and it's sat there and rubbing, the base bar sat there rubbing against the seat frame there. So if we can cause this kind of damage, and again, that's superficial, but the tube there, if you take a closer look, the tube has been flattened off. So there's going to be a lot of hidden damage on this aircraft that we haven't found yet. I mean, if you know what that is, then you'll be aware that something else has happened somewhere. So this is where the investigation side of things starts now, because the obvious damage stands out. And this is kind of the point that I want to make to all of you guys, if you're not aware or new to it or anything. You don't really get away with it. The damage will always go somewhere. There will always be something. And so what I'm going to start doing now is peeling back and taking a deeper, closer look at the trike and seeing what damage we may not have seen, because like I say, this one, although it didn't blow over, has been struck by other aircraft and other debris, and so we just want to find to what level of damage has been done. So I'm going to take you on the journey. I'm going to start stripping the aircraft back, and I'll bring you back in as and when, so I can bring you onto a little bit more detailed inspections. One of the things I'm going to do is take that pylon out. We're going to get it on a laser level and check for its geometry, make sure there's no twists in it. So slowly starting peeling out, and I found a small problem already. Now this can be of a number of issues and certainly can be a common one. It's certainly one that we've found a number of times, and I'm already being led into what the problem might be. But when you're doing this kind of investigation, it's important that you understand what it is that you're trying to find in the first place. So it's important that you work with the manual or the illustrated parts catalogues. Very good. And what I'm slowly doing is, in effect, de-rigging the aircraft and feeling for any restrictions. And the first thing I've noticed is with this front strut. So if you see the front strut here, obviously, bear with me, all caught up. So here's the front strut. Now I have removed or disconnected the hydraulic ram here. So I'll just move that out of the way. But my issue is at this end, so if I can show you without catching myself on everything, this shouldn't be that much of an effort to remove, but the issue I'm worried about is that, because although yes, that should push back, that's taking quite a bit of effort. So I'm already being led to believe that there's a bend somewhere, whether that's the pylon or the keel. I'm not quite sure. I'll keep investigating. Okay, so just in the process of clearing the pylon off, what I've done is, you see up here, set up a long straight edge there. You can see that. Here we go, long straight edge there, just so we can see if there's any twist in it. Putting the laser down, there's definitely evidence of a dentation here, but I'm not quite sure, looking at the press roll, whether that was done during manufacture, but there's a bit of deviation on there. So carry on the further investigation. But what I have discovered, I'll try and get this lighting right so it's not blinding, there we go, is a significant amount of wear here, and this is where obviously the over center catch goes. Now I've cleaned up half of this, so there's a lot of witness marking here of debris which is there. So this is the side that I've cleaned up. I've had a magnifying glass on there, and there's definitely, you can feel it, a dentation in there. Now when I compare that to the over center catch, and I've cleaned up this half as well, you can see that there's a a flat spot on the over centre catch. Now, those two marrying up obviously will work together to create a problem. Now, what I was trying to work out, and this is the unfortunate part of our job, is this pre-existing down on general wear and tear, or has it been caused by the incident? And the one thing that's making me leading me is the witness marks that are here. So you can see that there's I've only cleaned this area here. You can see there's evidence here where this debris, this transfer of surfaces here has started to run. So there's a few run marks down there. Now, if this was pre-existing, there'd be a lot more of this. There'd be evidence of it running all the way down. This is only a recent thing, and so I'm believing that this was caused by the wing sitting there 98 mile an hour and the whole wing just spending 24 hours rubbing away at that. Now, like I said, the damage has got to go somewhere, and I believe that this is part of the damage. So I am going to pop this keel out. I'm going to check this under a magnifying glass, but to be honest, I think that's it's going to be a write-off keel, unfortunately. So it's looking like they're needing a new keel at this stage. Other things that we've found, which we knew were going to be the case anyway, was this is where the seat pan, where the base bar was sitting on the seat pan, and again has also spent the entire night rubbing. You see there's quite a significant damage on that side, fortunately not on the other. So it does look like we're going to have to replace the seat pan, and again that also marries up with the base bar. So if you can see there's a flat spot on the base bar. So so far new base bar, seat pan half, and looking at the keel. So we'll continue going and I'll keep you informed as we go along. Okay, so following on from before, when we were trying to take the front strut out, there was a definite issue with trying to remove the front strut. This is something that we've had before on other aircraft, and let me zoom around. So, and what can happen is the seat frame from heavy landings or whatever, or just having a slight faux pas, the weight pushes here, and so it's very easy to get a bend in the keel from this area as your weight pushes down on the seat. So this is certainly an area worth checking. So what we've done, or what I've done, is set up a very, very simple rig. So we've G-clamped, slightly raised, you know, some 2.5 inch box tubing just to clear this, and G-clamped it in place. I know that's a straight level, and if I take a measurement here, if you can see that, I've got about 60 mil clearance there. So in theory, that should be the same at the other end, because I'm not using it as a spirit level, I'm using it as a straight edge. So a good check then is to go to the other side and see if there's a bend, but I've got exactly 60 mil there as well. Now, this is where it starts going wrong, because, bear with me, just change this camera. I've also got 60 mil there, but then it starts to drift off. And so already 59 mil in between the seat frame there, 55 mil. So we're all right here, but as soon as we get to about here, we start drifting off. And if you look at the gap at the end, you see we are clearing there, it's not resting. Down at this end, I've got 38 mil. So there's about an 1.5 inch bend over a metre, and that would explain why the front strut also wasn't lining up. So unfortunately, I believe that there's a bend around here. There's nothing obvious, no witness marks that I can see, but this is certainly leading me into believing that the keel is bent. So it's brew time. It's been a long morning. And it goes to show, really, I think that you don't, as I said at the start of this particular bit, you don't really get away with it. You know, the accident's got to go the damage has got to go somewhere. And on the face of it, this hadn't had, it had an incident with something, it hadn't blown over, it hadn't hit something. Yeah, a few bits had fallen on it, and there was a bit of superficial damage, and we know we got a few bits with the gearbox, but in essence the trike had a cracked screen, where there was obvious bits of wear where it had been rubbing, but this trike's taken a significant battering, and so because it looks all right doesn't mean that it is all right. You can bend keels quite easily, like I say, with heavy landings, etc. But they're normally in that same sort of area, same spot. To bend this keel in that position has taken some significant force. Don't get me wrong, 98-mile-an-hour gusting winds and debris flying everywhere is going to be those sort of forces. But the pylon and the keel are two very, very strong items on a trike. They are the trike. So to damage them is impressive and scary at the same time. So yeah, just mulling over a brew. Yeah, just taking it all in, really. Front end looks to be okay. The steering block, that stops the nose wheel from turning too far so that you don't strike the nose wheel well with the tyre, has snapped, and there is evidence on the tyre where it's been rubbing, so I think it's just going to be a front tyre on for the front end. Pod doesn't look damaged in any way. There's a few witness marks, but I think it's going to be a replacement sticker, which would be great, because that's one less thing, really. So we are about done inspection wise. A few other bits just to go through, but I'm getting cold and losing the ability to speak, so I thought I'd do this now. Explorer wise, I don't think this is a write-off. I think it's very repairable. The keel is going to be a pain. That's going to add a bit to the job because everything is attached to it. Pylon has definitely got damage to it. There's some work on the gearbox on this one, so gearbox casing, but other than that, the wing skinner got damage to it. Hopefully top flight sales are going to give us some good news on that. But more importantly, the frame was okay. So that for me doesn't seem like it's going to be a write-off. As for the standard QUIK, lot of wing damage to that one. That was the one that rolled over. Pylon's definitely damaged on that, but other than that, the trike itself seems to have fared okay. There's a few bits on the nose where it struck the hanger trolley, and a lot of superficial damage to plastics, but they aren't the biggest thing. Again, a few things that we've seen. The gear screen on there, that unfortunately is going to add a little bit to it, but on the face of it, the trikes don't seem so bad. The wings are now in short pack. Like I say, the QUIK looking like two new leading edges and a keel. The Explorer, leading edges, outer leading edges, all fine. We're suspect on the keel on that one. Again, it's sat there for however many hours being battered, so we're going to put that through a few more tests, hopefully tomorrow when the machine's free. So we're going to check that that's okay. But other than that, we are looking to be done at this moment in time. Bit of tidying up. The sails, as I've said, are off to top flight sails. I've got a mountain of paperwork to do, so jobs for me next, which hopefully we'll keep you updated with. Sails to go, tidy up, make sure everything gets put away safe so it doesn't pick up any hanger rash whilst it's in our workshop, because that'd be irritating. Got to write up the reports for the insurance to give them a breakdown on the damage that we found. Speak to P&M to try and hopefully pull something out of the bag so we can get these trikes back in the air as quickly as possible. So yeah, a lot of time on the phone next week, a lot of time in front of a laptop, trying to get all of this back together again and try and turn some sort of result out of it. And that's it for another episode of Wingnuts. We hope you've enjoyed it and it's given you a bit of an insight on the kind of work that we do here at Micro Maintenance, and also the level of detail that you need to go to should you be doing any kind of repair after an incident to your trike. There's no doubt that this is going to be an ongoing feature with us for quite some time, so we hope you can join us on future episodes as we get these aircraft back into the air. Anyway, until next week, guys, don't forget to click that subscribe button. Please leave a comment in the sections below. We try our hardest to reply. We certainly do read them all. But until next week, guys, see you soon.